Hi, today is January 28th, 2023, and here are my poems for the day. The first one is poem number 164 for the year. It's called Kronos. I saw and heard the Kronos Quartet again last night. Their work has inspired me in multiple ways for more than 30 years. Almost every time I see them, at least one poem occurs to me, but this morning, the ideas for 6 poems have occurred to me, including this one. So thank you, Kronos, for everything you do. My gratitude toward you is boundless. Poem number 165, Not for Peni. The bulk of this poem was going to be a parenthetical disclaimer placed at the beginning of the next poem. I instead decided to make it its own poem. I cannot dedicate the next poem to Peni Candra Rini. I heard her sing on Thursday and last night at Zankel Hall and was absolutely blown away. I have never heard anyone sing the way she does, but as I listened last night, I thought that perhaps some people might reject it, and then I thought, what if everyone rejected it? And that idea led to the idea for the next poem, which, I repeat, is not about and is not dedicated to Peni Candra Rini. Poem number 166, Expert. She was an acknowledged expert in a type of singing that was absolutely hated by everyone who heard it. No one who heard her sing could fail to acknowledge that she could do things with her voice that no one else could, but nor could anyone honestly say that they enjoyed her singing. Barely anyone could even tolerate it. She has studied with masters for more than 25 years and dedicates many months of each year to further training in this style of singing that absolutely no one appreciates or loves, but she sure is good at it. It is truly incredible what she can do with her voice, but it is even more excruciating than it is incredible. She will continue to devote the rest of her life to practicing this style of singing, and she will become more and more adept and more famous and more despised as the years go by. Poem number 167, All Women Composers. Before the concert began last night, I was conversing with the woman who happened to be seated at my left. I told her, "It is all women composers on the program tonight," and she said, somewhat haughtily, as if she were correcting me, "We just call them composers now." I said, well, I suppose I could have said it's all composers on the program tonight, but that wouldn't have given you any information. She quickly, but not apologetically, said, "You're right," and I thought, of course I'm right, but I didn't say it. I also thought to myself that in 2175, it will be unremarkable to go to a concert and hear a program of all women composers. But this is 2023, not 2175. It is nice to think that one day no one will remark upon a program of all women composers, and maybe it would have been better if I hadn't remarked upon it last night. But still, she didn't have to be all haughty and whatnot. Poem number 168, Applauding Too Soon. I can understand the excitement and appreciation that can overwhelm a person when a string quartet is coming to the end of a brilliant and beautiful performance of a brilliant and beautiful piece of music. But quartets have a way of signaling that the performance is actually over. When the last note is played, they hold their position and then release by clearly lowering their arms or making some similar gesture. The last note is meant to hang in the room for a moment, and the musicians will generally let it hang. But last night, the audience kept beginning the applause before the musicians had signaled that the piece was over. And in the second to last piece on the program, the applause actually began before the quartet was even finished playing. It quickly stopped, and the audience almost let the quartet finish before applauding again, but instead they applauded a few seconds too early, as they had been doing all evening. I'm not talking about that thing of when a quartet is playing a piece in several moments and movements, and people applaud between the movements. That is considered wrong to do, but it is understandable. I am talking about some clown who wants to be the first one to render appreciation for the composer and the musicians who have almost but not quite finished playing. I will admit that this annoyed me a lot, so much so that I remarked upon it several times, but not to the woman on my left, but rather to the woman on my right who I had brought to the concert. It really bothered me, and I kept remarking upon it. I hope I didn't ruin the concert for her, but it really bothered me. I shouldn't have let the enthusiastic audience ruin it for me and my companion, but maybe I did a little. Poem number 169, Aiko. In 1979, I first saw Aiko Otake and Takashi Koma Otake perform together as Aiko and Koma. It was an astonishing dance performance, and I have never forgotten it. I never saw either of them perform again until last night. But last night, Aiko, performing with Kronos, but without Koma, brought out large sheets of paper, which she handed to each member of the quartet. They walked around crumpling and ripping and offering pieces of paper to audience members. It was not nearly as intense as when I saw Aiko and Koma perform White Dance and Fission at Camera Mart Stage 1 as part of the Dance Umbrella series in 1979, but it was still an extraordinary experience to see someone who I had seen so long ago still creating and still performing. Sometimes I admire dedication and keeping at it more than I admire talent or genius. But Aiko Otake has dedication, talent, and genius. Poem number 170, Caught Up. I failed to set my alarm last night, and I woke up more than half an hour later than I wanted to. For the last 2.5 hours, I've been playing catch-up, but now I am finally caught up. Now I can move forward into the day and do what I can pretend I want to do. What at least a part of me wants to do is to just keep writing, but other things await my attention. And now that I am caught up and back on schedule, I will get to them. Thank you very much for devoting 7 minutes or so to listening to this. I really, truly, truly, truly appreciate it.